Hello everybody. Today is my birthday and that's super exciting, and the reason that it is exciting to you, the reason this matters at all, is because I am going to be using my leftover birthday money to be getting a camera so that, I say leftover, I mean my birthday money, to be getting a camera so that hopefully it won't be quite so choppy, and hopefully one of the boys in my life will be willing to edit these ventures for us so that they're a little less weird in the way that they're put together, and there's not just like a random pause in the video where I had to take out the recording, and also it's all in one place so you don't have to watch part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. So yeah, today we are making cinnamon rolls for the uninitiated. Super excited about that. Also incredibly nervous because this is the first time that I will be using yeast by myself. I am going to be using instant yeast because I can and because it's a little bit easier, hopefully. But also you will be seeing Alex in the background. He is going to be cooking dinner while I'm doing this, at least for part of it. So I also might be doing this on 2 separate days. I'm not really sure yet. It's kind of later than I was intending to start these, so I really don't know how this is going to go. So yeah, there's a catastrophe waiting to happen, so let's get this started. Alright, so we're actually having our own dinner kitchen catastrophe going on back here because I forgot to get sour cream and we needed that. So we're going to be using some Greek yogurt as a substitute, which we found out we could do. So, okay, we're going to get started on the other half of the kitchen catastrophe. I'm terrified by this, by the way, just in case you hadn't picked up on that already. Note to self, it's really difficult to pour a half a cup of milk with a full gallon jug of milk. Just in case you guys were wondering. Okay, and then whipping cream. So one of the things about this recipe that I'm kind of concerned about is that I don't have a stand mixer. And as you guys are aware, if you've been around for a minute, I really want a stand mixer, and I'm planning to get one. As soon as I am living in a place where I can keep one, because as much as I would love to have one right now and spend my birthday money on that, I do not have a place to put it. So that will be an investment that is coming later in life, hopefully very soon. But anyway, she uses a stand mixer for this, and she's like, okay, start with the whisk attachment and switch to the dough hook. I don't have a dough hook. I do have a whisk beater though, so I'm going to start with my whisk beater, and then I'm going to switch over if my whisk beater can handle it. That's going to be the trick, because I don't know if you've ever seen a stand mixer, but their whisk attachments are like 3 times the size of this whisk, and they're like super sturdy. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the microwave. Okay, now need a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of sugar. This is also really weird for me because I'm used to, when I'm baking, creaming my butter and sugar first, and this recipe is just like, just throw it all in there and go ahead and start. Okay, whatever you say, recipe, trusting your judgment. I also found out that I got these little like instant yeast packets. They're not exactly what I was expecting, and they're not exactly the measurement that I need, so I'm gonna have to measure out my yeast as well, which will be a party, as you're well aware. Got some more sugar, so we're restocked on sugar, finally, which is awesome. So, not that I'm really going to need it, I only need 2 tablespoons of sugar. I need some sugar for the glaze later on, but, my scissors. Put them away, like, you know, a logical person would. Okay, this is where it gets... I have a feeling that I'm going to end up with some yeast just all over my counter. That's what I'm anticipating happening here. We shall see. There's Alex's back. I asked him if he was okay with his back being featured in an episode of Kitchen Catastrophe, and he said that was fine, so taking his word for it. Okay, what?
Just watch out for this.
Okay. We're not going to knock over any pasta today. It's like jumping all over the place. I don't like this. Okay, my family loves to make fun of me for this, but I have an issue with anything that is, the way I put it is, it's the thing growing on a thing. I might have talked about this already, I'm not sure. But if you're new, if you haven't been around, if you don't know me very well, I don't like, for instance, landscaping fabric. I think it's gross. Look at this. I don't know if it's not really wanting to focus, but look at it. It's so gross. Yeast is a living organism, and it's super nasty. But we need it because it makes bread do what we want it to do. Okay, so that's about all of that. Couldn't get much more out of there than that. But it likes to stick together, and so it's like, it looks like it's like growing out of the packet, and I'm not having a good time. My Splenda, whenever I sub in Splenda for sugar, like I did the other day, oops, there's some yeast that's already made its way into the bowl. No, don't die. My recipe's on my computer over here, so there's a lot going on right now. Also, Alex's phone is back there, keeping him entertained, as you can see. So there are lots of electronics, but yeah, it's really freaking me out. And also, like, my mother warned me, like, every time she makes, not every time, but like in the past when she's done anything. Do you see how it all wants to stick together? I'm not having a good time, y'all. This is, I know my father is watching this and just cracking up laughing at me. I can hear you. Stop it. It's not funny. The comparison I was making earlier is the landscaping fabric. It looks like, good. It looks like the landscaping fabric is like when dirt gets on. Do you know what landscaping fabric is? It put it in place of mulch over like a flower bed. Just use mulch, but they put it in place of mulch over a flower bed. Yeah, there's yeast all over my counter because there's nowhere for the excess to go, because it's in these stupid little packets. I feel like it bounced up in my face. Okay, never using these again. Good to know. Alright, so make sure I'm good on that. Okay, so a tablespoon of yeast. Please don't, like, die or just freak out. But when dirt, like, gets it's all over my counter, I don't like it. It's on my computer. I don't usually do this, but we're gonna have to clean up the counter a little bit because this is gonna make me crazy if I don't. So, okay, just hold tight. Okay, we now have a mostly yeast-free counter, which is good. It's on my floor a little bit, but we're just gonna not think about it. It's not good. Everybody, let's just not think about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Okay. I don't think I ever finished explaining about the landscaping fabric, but if you know, you know. It's fine. Okay, so moving on from that, because I just, now that the gross is done, I don't really want to think about it anymore, Does anybody else, like, always freak out whenever they're measuring things in tablespoons and teaspoons? Like, it's definitely wrong. Because I'm always really concerned. I have a tablespoon measure and a teaspoon measure sitting on my counter, so I know that this is a teaspoon. Alex, everyone. But I'm looking at it, I'm holding the teaspoon measure because that's the tablespoon measure, but I'm always scared that I've got the wrong thing in my hands. Okay. We need an egg. Since we only needed 1 egg this time, I decided not to put it in a measuring cup to pour it in there. I think I've got everything. I need my 4 tablespoons. I thought it was raining. He's just cooking. Yeast on the side of my bowl. Why is there yeast everywhere in my life? Okay. That one just splatted really hard, but look how nice and even that was. It like crumbled the eggshell, but the sink is currently occupied. This is gonna be interesting. I'll be right back.
Oh, what's up, bro? You looking at my wife, dude?
If anybody is watching this that doesn't
You looking
know
at my
us,
wife,
they're gonna
dude?
be extremely concerned.
Freaking heck, dude.
This is the kind of thing that you're gonna be in charge of, like, editing out.
Alright, let's go in.
Gotcha. You missed the part where he was trying to judge if he looked fat in the camera, so I turned it on at the very end of that. Do I eat these? Yes. I eat these. I'm not supposed to melt these, am I? No, I'm not. I'm just supposed to put them in there. The only thing I have to worry about heating up is the milk. I did that already. Okay, now I need 2 more tablespoons of butter. This is one of those rare recipes where it calls for salted butter. I'm like, why? And the answer is, I don't know. I'm really bad at cutting a straight line. When y'all see this in some point in the near future. Or it's actually already up when I was cutting the tops of the cakes off to level them for this pumpkin spice cake. I was like, the whole time I was scared to death that I was gonna cut it unevenly because I'm so bad at it. Just cutting a straight line. It shouldn't be that hard, but it always ends up going one way or the other, and I don't know. Hey, Alex, would you put that up? Sorry, I was trying to get you while you're still there. Okay, and then our milk is warm. And the only thing after that we need is flour. The flour is just going to have to be a pain for this one. There's not really a good way because you never know exactly how much it's going to take. And so I can't really prep for that one, unfortunately, which is really a shame because flour takes me, so I'm aware, the longest prep to measure. Well, y'all might actually not be aware. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you're aware of and what you're not. Okay, so we got see, the yeast. We're very familiar with the yeast. Sugar, salt, butter, 1 egg, and then the flour. Okay. So, we are sitting pretty with that. The thing that my mom is always concerned about is she killed her yeast one time because she had her water too hot. Since I have active yeast, since I have instant yeast, I don't have to worry about that as much, but you know, you don't want to get your milk too hot because you can kill your yeast that way too. But it was just lukewarm, so it should be okay. I'm really concerned about this, but here we go. Okay, we're getting close. We're having a little bit of issue with the butter. It's this may surprise you. This is the first time that I'm actually using the whisk attachment as a whisk attachment. We've used it as like a miniature whisk, like a tiny a tiny whisk, just on like random episodes, random recipes. Like Alex likes to make eggs occasionally, and like he'll use the tiny whisk because it's smaller than our other ones, and it just kind of works a little better, especially if you're only making eggs for one person, because I don't really eat eggs most of the time. Do love me a good frittata. Frittata is a good time. I do love frittatas. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, so this is the first time that I'm using this attachment as just the whisk attachment on my hand mixer. And you know what? Hamilton and I have been through a lot, and he is doing just a stand-up job right now. But it's a little much with only one beater, since you don't have 2 for the whisk. It is a little much with not having the butter softened up. It was making like little butter hills because it was like catching them off the top and spinning them away. So hopefully that will be good. A good old handy dandy purple spatula. Oh no, the cord is in the way. don't want that guy falling over. And then we'll be able to start adding in the flour. So, y'all, I'm freaking terrified. Oh, do you want to show them your food? You don't have to if you don't want to. We made stroganoff.
Whole wheat pasta.
Per his request. He's the healthy one of the two of us. I'm just kind of a lump. What are you?
I still need a
Your
fork.
fork. Your fork.
Preach, man.
I'll go ahead and pull one out for myself.
I was
There.
gonna do that, but okay.
Oh, well, sorry. You can have some carrots. They're in there if you want them. We forgot to put vegetables on the list. Oh, Also, when I used this for the first time, it kind of exploded everywhere. I guess since I'm used to creaming my butter and sugar first, I didn't think about the fact that there's a lot of liquid in here. So we have a little bit of milk and cream mixture all over the counter. Not all over, but just a couple splatters here and there. I caught most of it before it got too bad. There's a bug in here. It's a mosquito. Spawn of Satan himself. Okay, so we are doing pretty okay at the moment. I've got to move you because I need the flour canister. So now it's time to start adding the flour, and I really hope I have more flour in the fridge because I'm not sure that's 4 cups in there. I do. We're good. Everything's fine. But this is the most disconcerting part for me because I don't, other than the yeast situation, I like having an exact recipe. I don't do well with improvising when I'm actually cooking. Probably a couple months ago now, I did a segment that I called Recipe for Disaster because I was in fact doing something without a recipe. It was just something that I thought of off the top of my head and started putting together, but I wasn't actually cooking anything. The most cooking that I ended up doing was, and some of y'all saw this whole adventure, but the most cooking that I did was microwaving some chocolate, so was not high stakes at all. For this, it's a little more high stakes. But what I'm trying to figure out is the recipe that I'm following is just adding a half a cup at a time. So I'm okay, should I take the time to measure out each half a cup painstakingly, as long as it takes me, spooning it in there so that it's not all packed down, or should I just kind of scoop out half a cup ish and put it in there and then just kind of go from there? Since it's not exact anyway, would that be fine? And I think it would. And it would do my heart some good not to have to measure out flour because I hate measuring flour. But it also just makes me very, very nervous because I won't know exactly how much is in there, and I just feel like I'm breaking the rules even though there aren't really rules. It's a whole thing. I'm a 1, y'all. I'm a 1. And it is coming out strong right now. I'm also regretting that I used this for the yeast because I don't think it's not quite big enough. But I'm not gonna, you know what? It's gonna be fine. We're gonna eyeball it. As much as that, I'm pretty sure my heart rate just increased saying that. It's just, I don't like not having exact measurements. Even the buttercream recipe that I follow, is from a person who lives in Utah. And if you don't know anything about Utah, it's much drier of a climate there than it is here in Hawaii. A lot of my measurements are going to take some adjusting once I move back to the mainland just because I live in such a humid climate. It's hot and humid all the time. Right now it's especially rough. It's just been, we have the air at a ridiculously low temperature that I'm not going to share with y'all because I don't want you to judge me. Because it feels comfortable in here. Having it super, super low. Just because it's just so hot outside. But even with buttercream, and her recipe, I got some milk on my screen. Her recipe is kind of, just however much, it's about this much and about this much sugar, and even that, I've gotten down to a science, and even adjusting for where I live. I know exactly how much more cream to add, or how much less cream to add than what she. I said I was just gonna eyeball this, and I am definitely evening this out right now with my little scraper. Can't do it, y'all. Can't do it. It is not. It's not in my future to be able to. I just can't. It's like, what if I get it wrong? Okay, now I'm gonna have to turn you guys off because I'm gonna be adding this slowly. This will also be the nice thing about having a camera is that, you know what? You'll figure it out. All right, so we're just up to half a cup of flour. It went everywhere. It is all over my hand, all over the computer, all over the counter, all over the bowl, everything. It's everywhere. And that's fine, but we're gonna switch over to our beaters now. So that's cool, and we're gonna add another half cup of flour and see how it goes. I did not expect this to be quite as stressful as it is turning out to be. Whoops. So far, the biggest catastrophe has been that I got the whisk to go through the what's that thing called? Where you put the silverware rack thing in the dishwasher. Yeah, got it to just drop right on through. I know my parents are just laughing at me right now because I'm just so worked up about this whole thing. But look, y'all, getting something wrong is like a fate worse than death for me. I don't do getting things wrong. And Alex was back here just a little bit ago, like, I'm talking about you. Just like messing around with putting in the Greek yogurt instead of sour cream since I forgot to get that. And it's just like, I would have it measured out exactly, like, this is how much we usually use or whatever, but I just can't, like, I cannot just eyeball it. I just don't. That really stresses me. I want it to be exact, and I want to know that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our second half cup of flour. This is a really long way to do this. Curse of being a perfectionist. Never wants to get anything wrong. And it's not like for myself. It's just like I don't want to be a disappointment, like. And I don't think. I don't know, and I don't know what. I don't know what happens if yeast doesn't work right. Obviously, stuff doesn't rise. But like, is it just crunchy? Like, what happens to the bread at that point? Like, is it just gonna be gross? Like, is it gonna taste bad? Is it gonna taste dead? Like, I don't know what. I don't know what happens when yeast dies. That sounds like a really existential crisis kind of question, but really it's just, I just want to know what happens if you accidentally kill your yeast. It's also just weird that I'm baking with a living thing. Like, it shouldn't be alive. Like, I think Alex thinks I've lost my mind, which I probably have, look, I'm doing it. That's about half a cup. Go me. Okay, I'm adding in my next half cup, and this time I'm gonna leave the camera on when I start mixing this. So just turn your volume down. Be prepared for that because it's gonna be loud. But like I just want you to see, like, I'm using my big bowl again, and it's kind of like whenever I'm making buttercream or just add powdered sugar. Like when I made the cake layers and I added in a quarter cup of Splenda instead of just 100% sugar, and it just like flies all over the place. I just want you to see what I'm having to do to keep everything in the bowl. And I should have kept it on for the last time because I ended up getting flour just like spraying up in my face and got a little bit in my eye, so that was fun. It's not like just exploding everywhere. It's just kind of like volcanic ash the way it's going. I don't know. That's how I'm imagining it. But okay, cup and a half. So we could possibly be halfway there. We also might not be. You never really know. Okay, here we go. turning into a dough. Well, this is exciting. It's turning into a dough. It's still got a long way to go. This was a good one to keep it on for. Okay, so still ended up getting flour on my face, so you saw the struggle there. But it's starting to come together a little bit. It looks a little less like a liquid, which is cool. I'm still like super nervous about this, but like it's starting to look a little more like when I make biscuits with Bisquick. We don't really make biscuits. I have made biscuits from scratch before. I have also assisted in making biscuits from scratch before, but we just tend to make biscuits from Bisquick, waffles and pancakes as well, just because it's easy, guys. And honestly, they're really good. We always make like there are 2 recipes for the pancakes, and it's like just the standard recipe, and then it's like I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the fancy pancake recipe. I could look if I wanted to, but we always make that one. It's got a little bit of sugar in it, like some vanilla and stuff, like a little more than just like strictly what you need. There's flour everywhere. But yeah, we do that, but like it's good and it's easy, and like why not? And it's a lot faster. So growing up we always did breakfast lunch on Sundays after we got home from church. That was what we would do. Daddy would fix eggs, and we would have bacon or sausage, and then we would just rotate through waffles, pancakes, and biscuits. So we always had a very large assortment of jelly in the house. Jelly, jam, butters, curd. Lemon curd is like my favorite thing ever. Alex really likes apple jelly, which I did not know existed until I moved down here about 3 years ago. It's actually pretty good. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but there you go. He really likes it, so we're getting flour all over the counter now. So this is like on my own, not with no help from the beaters. Stop it. I also don't think that it's the best thing about baking is tasting the beaters, and I'm just not sure that the beaters are going to be all that great this time. It's just the thing about cinnamon rolls is that I should probably explain that. The thing about cinnamon rolls is like what's inside them. So you don't want the dough itself to be super super sweet, or like it'll be too much, and it'll also just detract from the filling. Okay, we leveled that one off kind of. Look, I didn't even level it off perfectly. It's still a little lumpy. I'm coming so far in this thing. Okay, I'm not gonna leave it on this time because it is so loud. But then I will, whenever I come back, I'll let you know about cinnamon rolls. Okay, this is 2 cups. So no. I don't know why I panicked so hard, but we're getting there. Okay, so this is what we got so far. Shows you that we still have a long way to go, but also we're getting there because like it's really sticking together now, and it's really forming into a dough. But like what you want is for it to just fall off for her it's the dough hook, but you just want it to fall off the beaters. I think there might have to be a little bit of an adjustment since they are beaters and not a dough hook, but we're getting there slowly but surely, which is exciting. This is by far the highest intensity recipe that I've ever had to do. It's just a lot more involved than what I typically have done in the past. It's also because, the good thing, you want it to come together, so that's a good thing, but the bad thing about that is that, as you can see, it's gonna make life kind of difficult on my beaters, which I think is why I'm supposed to be using a dough hook for this. But she does say at some point in the video, somebody has done this with just a hand mixer before, so it is possible. But I'm probably gonna end up needing this by hand a whole lot longer, which is fine. I didn't do arms today, so should be good there. okay, we're really starting to get to like an actual dough, and I'm so excited. The real test is going to be the first rise. That's where I'm gonna, because if it doesn't rise, then I'll know that I broke it and I killed the yeast. But there's not much of a way to tell right now, you know. So I'm just kind of, I'm holding my breath until we get to that point. But we're at 2 cups of flour. So we still have a ways to go, which is fine. Oh, Simeon rolls. So, back in the day, you know, small children have a tough time saying some things. And we like to make cinnamon rolls and orange rolls for what do we like to make them? This year we made them on Christmas Day, but we usually make fruit pizza on Christmas Day. Fam, help me out. What do we usually make cinnamon rolls and orange rolls for? I think just sometimes we just did it just because we could. And they're like not like from scratch or anything. They're just from the roll. But let me tell you, those orange rolls are evil. They're so good. But we made them one time when we were down in Alabama with my family, my extended family, and one of my little cousins, Gracie, who is only, gosh, probably like 4 or 5 at this point. She was pretty young still, and she came up to my mom, whose name is Cynthia, and that's a hard name for kids to say. I had a kid that I would watch, he was in my wedding, and he would say Miss Cynthia, because like Cynthia is just really hard to say. It's got an S and the TH and like all the consonant combinations. It's really tough. So mom has typically gone by Cindy, to like all of my cousins. I don't think any of them call her Aunt Cynthia. I think they all call her Aunt Sandy. But my little cousin came up and said, Aunt Cindy, can I have another Simeon roll? And it was so cute because Cindy and Simeon roll, and it was really cute. So now, I don't know that everyone in my family says Simeon. My mom says Simeon from time to time. I say Simeon. And now Alex says Simeon because I say Simeon and I explain the story to him. And I don't know that he actually remembers the story, but he remembers Simeon, so we just say Simeon all the time. And I'm honestly more likely to say Simeon than I am to say cinnamon. So I have to catch myself sometimes because I'm like, oh, these people are going to look at me like I'm crazy and they're not going to know what Simeon means. Or if they're Bible nerds, they might think that I'm talking about Simeon, like the name from the Bible, and like, why are you talking about Simeon? It's like, no, not that Simeon. It starts with a C, has 2 M's, get it with it. But yeah, so that's where Simeon comes from. That's why I say it.